Imagine if something as simple as the foods you place in your hand every day had the quiet power to shape one of the most influential forces within the human body, a force that determines energy, drive, strength, fertility, and even mood. The conversation about testosterone has long been wrapped in myths and half-truths, but recent attention has turned toward an unlikely group of foods: nuts. These small, nutrient-dense seeds of trees, often consumed casually as snacks, may carry a remarkable ability to either support or hinder hormonal balance. It is easy to dismiss the impact of such simple foods, but when the body's delicate hormonal orchestra is considered, even the smallest players can change the sound of the symphony. Within this context emerges the fascinating subject of 5 types of nuts that appear to encourage testosterone health, and to that, surprisingly, may counteract it. When discussing testosterone, we must recognize its importance as more than just a hormone associated with masculinity. It is the molecule of vitality, regulating muscle protein synthesis, red blood cell production, bone density, libido, and motivation. Testosterone contributes to cognition, mood stability, and overall physical resilience. Both men and women rely on it, though in different proportions. With advancing age, stress, poor nutrition, and environmental toxins, levels of this hormone naturally decline, often leading to fatigue, reduced strength, diminished drive, and an altered sense of self. It is no wonder that researchers, clinicians, and the general public have shown increasing interest in natural, dietary ways to influence testosterone levels without immediately resorting to pharmaceuticals. Diet has always been a foundation of endocrine health. The body's hormones are built from and regulated by the nutrients provided in food. Micronutrients such as selenium, zinc, and magnesium, macronutrients like fats and proteins, and even phytonutrients with antioxidant potential, all play their roles in the pathways that lead to healthy testosterone production. When we turn our attention to nuts, we find they are particularly concentrated sources of many of these compounds. Rich in minerals, healthy fats, protein, and bioactive compounds, they provide a compelling case for inclusion in a hormone-supportive diet. But they are not uniform in their effects. Some appear particularly well suited to enhance testosterone, while others, through specific mechanisms, may inadvertently suppress its activity. Let us first consider the 5 nuts that have been linked to boosting or supporting testosterone levels. Among the most prominent are Brazil nuts. These nuts, native to South America, are famous for their unusually high selenium content. Selenium is a trace mineral required in small amounts but with outsized influence on male reproductive health. It is involved in the function of enzymes that protect testicular cells from oxidative damage and support spermatogenesis. Multiple studies have shown that selenium supplementation can improve sperm motility and, in some cases, testosterone concentration. A single Brazil nut can contain more than the daily recommended intake of selenium, making it a powerful but potentially risky source if consumed in excess. Moderation is key, but in small amounts, Brazil nuts stand out as one of the most direct food sources that could foster an environment conducive to healthy testosterone production. Another nut that merits attention is the cashew. While often overlooked compared to almonds or peanuts, cashews are rich in zinc, a mineral repeatedly demonstrated to be critical for testosterone synthesis. Zinc acts as a cofactor for enzymes in the testes that regulate steroidogenesis, the process of hormone creation from cholesterol. Inadequate zinc intake has long been associated with hypogonadism, infertility, and diminished testosterone levels. Animal studies have suggested that cashew oil may enhance libido and potency, reinforcing the idea that the micronutrient content of cashews can make a meaningful difference for individuals who do not consume red meat or shellfish. Both known for zinc content, cashews offer a plant-based pathway to meet this crucial mineral requirement. Macadamia nuts form another interesting case. They differ from many other nuts because of their fat composition. Whereas walnuts and almonds are relatively high in polyunsaturated fatty acids, macadamias contain a greater proportion of monounsaturated fats and fewer polyunsaturates. This matters because testosterone synthesis depends on cholesterol availability, and the type of dietary fat can influence this process. Diets richer in monounsaturated and saturated fats have sometimes been associated with higher testosterone levels, whereas excessive polyunsaturated intake may be linked to suppression. Macadamia nuts, therefore, provide an attractive balance, delivering healthy fats that may support the hormonal milieu without the same concerns raised by other nut varieties. Almonds, though sometimes listed among nuts that could suppress testosterone, also deserve a place on the supportive list when consumed thoughtfully. They are packed with magnesium, vitamin E, protein, and antioxidants. Magnesium in particular has been associated with improved free testosterone levels, possibly through its role in reducing oxidative stress and modulating sex hormone-binding globulin. Furthermore, almonds contribute to cardiovascular health, which indirectly supports testosterone by ensuring efficient blood flow and oxygen delivery. While there is evidence suggesting almonds can raise SHBG and thereby reduce the fraction of free testosterone, the overall nutrient density and benefits they provide make them a valuable, though nuanced, addition to a testosterone-conscious diet. Walnuts similarly occupy a complex space. They are known for their omega-3 fatty acid content, particularly alpha-linolenic acid, which can support cardiovascular and brain health. Some studies have even suggested walnut oil might improve steroid hormone levels in men, pointing toward potential testosterone support. However, their high proportion of polyunsaturated fats has led to concerns that they might also contribute to increased SHBG or otherwise reduce free testosterone availability. Nonetheless, when consumed in moderate amounts as part of a balanced diet, walnuts offer micronutrients, antioxidants, and essential fats that could contribute positively to overall hormonal and reproductive health. Now we turn to the two nuts that are frequently regarded with caution in relation to testosterone. Almonds, as mentioned, are sometimes placed on this side of the discussion because of their effect on sex hormone-binding globulin. A study on women with polycystic ovary syndrome revealed that almond consumption increased SHBG by approximately 16%, which would lower free testosterone levels even if total testosterone remained unchanged. Free testosterone is what exerts biological activity in the body, influencing energy, libido, and muscle growth. This raises the concern that high intake of almonds could counteract the hormone's availability. It must be emphasized that these effects are subtle and context-dependent, but the possibility makes almonds a double-edged sword. Walnuts are the other nut commonly flagged as testosterone killers. Their high polyunsaturated fat profile, while beneficial for cardiovascular purposes, may lead to oxidative stress in testicular tissue if consumed excessively, potentially interfering with steroid hormone synthesis. Furthermore, because polyunsaturated fats can influence cell membrane composition, they may indirectly affect how hormones are transported and bound. While some evidence suggests positive hormonal outcomes from walnut oil, other data raises concern that walnuts could reduce effective testosterone levels when eaten in excess. As with almonds, the truth lies in balance and individual context. To truly understand why some nuts may boost testosterone while others may dampen it, one must examine the underlying biological mechanisms. Testosterone is synthesized primarily in the Leydig cells of the testes under stimulation by luteinizing hormone. Cholesterol serves as the raw material, and its conversion into testosterone requires a cascade of enzymatic reactions. Minerals like zinc and selenium act as cofactors in these reactions, ensuring that the enzymes function efficiently. Antioxidants help protect Leydig cells from damage, maintaining their capacity to produce hormones. Meanwhile, the type of dietary fat influences the availability of cholesterol substrates and the fluidity of cell membranes, both of which can affect steroidogenesis. Polyunsaturated fats, particularly in high quantities, may increase oxidative stress and alter enzymatic activity, while monounsaturated fats tend to be more supportive. Another critical factor is sex hormone-binding globulin. This protein binds testosterone in the bloodstream, regulating the fraction that is biologically active. Foods that raise SHBG can reduce free testosterone even if total levels remain constant. Thus, when evaluating nuts, it is not enough to ask whether they increase or decrease total testosterone. The real question is how they influence the free portion, which exerts effects on tissues. This nuance explains why almonds and walnuts can simultaneously provide nutrients beneficial to testosterone synthesis while also raising concerns for reducing bioavailable hormone levels. The broader context of lifestyle cannot be ignored. No nut, no matter how rich in selenium, zinc, or healthy fats, will overcome the detrimental impact of chronic sleep deprivation, excessive alcohol intake, sedentary living, or obesity on testosterone. The endocrine system functions within an ecosystem of lifestyle factors. Nuts can be supportive allies, but they cannot substitute for foundational practices like regular exercise, resistance training, restorative sleep, and stress management. In fact, the benefits of nuts are best realized when they are integrated into a diet that also emphasizes whole foods, lean proteins, vegetables, and adequate hydration. It is also vital to consider dose. Brazil nuts, for example, can be extraordinarily beneficial in small amounts due to their selenium concentration, but overconsumption can lead to selenium toxicity, manifesting in gastrointestinal distress, hair loss, or even neurological issues. Almonds and walnuts, when eaten excessively, may tip the balance toward SHBG increases or polyunsaturated overload. Moderation ensures that the positive contributions outweigh the risks. A handful of mixed nuts, chosen with awareness of their strengths and limitations, may be one of the most effective ways to harness their potential without succumbing to their pitfalls. One must also address the mythologies that surround testosterone and diet. Popular culture often exaggerates claims, turning subtle nutritional influences into dramatic promises. It is not accurate to suggest that eating a handful of cashews will suddenly transform testosterone levels overnight, or that consuming walnuts will instantly destroy hormonal balance. The reality is far more measured. Dietary influences on testosterone are incremental, acting over weeks, months, and years, and their effects are intertwined with genetics, age, and environment. The excitement about nuts lies not in magical transformations but in their ability to provide consistent, supportive nutrients that, over time, contribute to a healthier endocrine environment. When speaking to a knowledgeable audience, it is also important to acknowledge the limitations of current research. Many of the studies examining nuts and testosterone involve small sample sizes, animal models, or indirect markers rather than large-scale randomized controlled human trials. While these findings are valuable, they must be interpreted cautiously. They provide plausible mechanisms and interesting associations, but not definitive cause and effect conclusions. This uncertainty underscores the need for future research that systematically examines how specific nuts, in defined quantities, influence testosterone and related markers in diverse human populations. Despite these uncertainties, practical recommendations can be made. For those seeking to optimize testosterone through diet, incorporating a modest quantity of Brazil nuts, cashews, and macadamias offers a reasonable strategy to secure selenium, zinc, and supportive fats. Almonds and walnuts, though sometimes maligned, can still contribute beneficially if eaten in moderation and balanced with other foods. Avoiding extremes is key. Rather than consuming large quantities of any single nut, a diverse intake ensures a broader spectrum of nutrients while minimizing risks associated with overconsumption. In the real world, this might look like including a few Brazil nuts a week, a handful of cashews or almonds on alternating days, walnuts sprinkled over a salad, and macadamias enjoyed as an occasional snack. Such an approach provides a mosaic of nutrients that collectively support hormonal health, combined with lifestyle measures like strength training, stress reduction, and sleep optimization. This pattern creates fertile ground for sustaining testosterone within healthy ranges. Another angle worth exploring is the role of nuts in the broader cardiovascular and metabolic context. Since testosterone levels are negatively affected by metabolic syndrome, insulin resistance, and poor cardiovascular function, any food that improves these parameters indirectly supports hormonal balance. Nuts, in general, are associated with improved lipid profiles, reduced inflammation, and enhanced vascular function. These systemic benefits contribute indirectly to testosterone health, reminding us that the hormone does not operate in isolation but as part of an integrated physiological network. It is also worth considering the psychological dimension. Foods like nuts can contribute to satiety, prevent excessive snacking on processed carbohydrates, and foster a sense of well-being when incorporated into mindful eating patterns. Stable blood sugar and reduced inflammation translate into more stable energy and mood, both of which support the psychological environment necessary for healthy hormonal balance. Testosterone is not just about the biochemistry of the testes. It is also about the entire lifestyle that signals to the body whether it is in a state of vitality or decline. To sustain a thoughtful perspective, one must resist the temptation to oversimplify. The narrative of 5 nuts boosting testosterone and to killing it makes for an appealing headline, but the truth is subtler. All nuts contain beneficial nutrients, yet their specific profiles interact differently with the hormonal system. Some provide minerals essential for testosterone synthesis. Others deliver fats that either support or complicate hormone regulation. And still others influence binding proteins that determine hormone availability. To reduce them to heroes and villains misses the nuance that science reveals. The intelligent approach is not to demonize or idolize but to understand and apply judiciously. In conclusion, the story of nuts and testosterone is a story of balance. Brazil nuts, cashews, macadamias, almonds, and walnuts each carry unique properties that can nurture or complicate hormonal health. Almonds and walnuts, often accused of lowering testosterone, in fact, illustrate the complexity of nutritional science, where a food can be both beneficial and problematic, depending on context and dose. What emerges is not a simple prescription but an invitation to thoughtful engagement with food, to recognize that what we eat shapes the internal chemistry that governs our vitality. Testosterone is not merely a number on a lab test, it is a reflection of lifestyle, diet, and choices. By appreciating the nuanced role of nuts within this broader framework, one can move beyond fear and hype, embracing instead the power of informed decision. The next time you reach for a handful of nuts, consider the quiet influence they may exert on your hormonal health, not as a magic bullet, not as an instant cure, but as part of the daily choices that accumulate into resilience, vitality, and longevity. In that handful lies selenium, zinc, monounsaturated fat, antioxidants, and more. In that handful lies a microcosm of the delicate balance between nourishment and excess, between support and suppression, and in that handful lies a reminder that even the smallest foods can carry the weight of profound biological consequence.